We are starting our meeting. Thank you all for being here today. It is a jam-packed Council meeting. We got a lot of great things going on. We're going to be as efficient as possible. I'm just so excited that Facebook isn't down anymore because I'm sure there's people watching online too. Who knows what could have happened if it stayed down. So anyway, thank you all for being here today. We're going to begin, if you could join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Councilman Parnell, would you like to lead in a prayer?
Certainly. Heavenly Father, we thank you for just the wonderful privilege that we have to call you God and Father, and that we can come to you this evening with our requests and our petitions. So, Father, we ask for your blessing this evening as we, Lord, make decisions for the betterment of our city and for our residents. I thank you for these who've come. And, Father, we just ask you give us wisdom and guidance. We ask for your blessings, Father, upon not only the leadership of the city. We pray for our police officers, their families, our firemen and their families. Thank you for these that are here tonight. This we pray in the name of Jesus our Lord. Amen. Amen.
We can do our roll call, if that's all right, Liz. Thank you.
Councilperson Alvarez.
Here.
Councilperson Weinbach.
Here.
Councilperson Geis-Hurst.
Here.
Councilperson Parnell.
Here.
Councilperson Vasquez.
Here.
Councilperson Ambler.
Here.
Councilperson Zilli.
Thank you so much. Before we get to the minutes, we have some swearing-ins going on that I'm very excited about. If we could start with our fire chief, Crail, would you be willing to come up and introduce our new firefighter?
At this time, I'd like to call Alexander Rohde up to the front. Bring all your family. No problem. You don't have to, don't want to. It's available if you want to use it.
And you can repeat after me or hold it delay where I believe. Okay. Switch it, you'll raise your right hand, and when I say swear or affirm, you can pick one. You don't have to say swear, or you can just pick one word or the other, okay? Is it Rohde?
Yes.
Got it. I, Alexander Rohde,
I, Alexander Rohde,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of the State of Indiana,
and the laws of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
execute the duties
execute the duties
of my office
of my office
as the City of Portage Fire Department
as the City of Portage Fire Department
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Could our police chief please come up next?
Let the fire department shuffle out and our guys shuffle in. It's a full house here.
All right. Rice Kissinger, can you come up? Anybody that you want to come up with?
What I'll do is I'll say I see your hand and then you state your name. That way I don't, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing really hard to say, just think it ahead. Sorry. Oh, you can go back. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sorry. I go right in there.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there you go. You want to do the photo?
So, yeah, and then are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay, then left hand, yeah, the Bible, and then you raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Bryce Kissinger,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
execute the duties
execute the duties
of my office
of my office
as a member
as a member
of the City of Portage Police Department.
of the City of Portage Police Department,
You got it. To the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're dancing, we're dancing.
Well, run around there with pens, grab Bibles, it's,
These are all for photo ops mainly, so we gotta get the dancer on there.
oh, yeah. I trust you, name and over.
All right, do an awkward handshake here. Let's look over there at the Captain Mayor. You guys want one? Last two? Yeah, shake hands. Yeah. What? All right. Yeah, ready? That's what goes good. All right, right here. There we go.
I don't know if the count is going.
All right.
Just in case.
Let's try it.
Who we got next?
Logan Rhodes.
Just before, when I say I state your name, just say your name, and then swear or affirm, you can pick either swear or affirm, it's your choice. All right, raise your hand. I state your name,
I, Logan Rose,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
execute the duties
execute the duties
of my office
of my office
as a member
as a member
of the City of Portage Police Department,
of the City of Portage Police Department,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. So I'll sign here and then we'll switch. You know, see sign here? Yeah. See, the last guy will be. Good. We should rehearse these. We'll do like a rehearsal dinner for like the next one. Congratulations again.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you guys want to get in now?
Sure.
You fade it out.
Trevor Leonard. I knew I was going to do that. Lenhart. I told him I was going to do that, and then I did.
Did you want to have a Bible or?
Yeah.
Okay. I state your name.
I, Trevor Leonard,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
execute the duties
execute the duties
of my office
of my office
as a member
as a member
of the City of Portage Police Department,
of the City of Portage Police Department,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. There, I'll take care of it and we'll switch.
It's gonna be a well-oiled machine here by the last one.
At least we didn't do them all at once and then have to have them all on the table at the same time.
All right. One more. 20?
All right, and Mr. Marcus Bachman.
Did you want to use the Bible? No problem. I always ask.
Yeah.
No pressure. No. All right, so you raise your hand. I state your name.
I, Marcus Bachman,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
execute the duties
execute the duties
of my office
of my office
as a member
as a member
of the City of Portage Police Department,
of the City of Portage Police Department,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
My any meeting when we get to do that. Did everyone have a chance to read the minutes? And if so, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And it passed. Liz, maybe this is an Ed question. Is it possible to come to those other spots later, or do we need to go through them? If it's all right, Oh, I was going to say, go ahead then, yeah.
I just want to inform everybody that we've been working hard to finish our annual financial report, and we have completed it. And we are currently, as I speak, rolling over year 2023 into 2024. I will have an appropriations report for all the department heads within the next week. So if you have any questions beforehand, give me a call. It should be completed probably about 7:30 tonight. It takes a while to roll it over. Looking forward to starting 2024's budget and getting it up to date, so all the department heads will have their reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. And then in
Thank
lieu
you.
of my correspondence, I am going to give a little bit of time to a guest that we have here today. If you'd like to come and make an introduction. Come on up.
Thank you and good evening, Mayor Bunta, Town Council members, council administrators, community members, and esteemed guests. My name is Maceo Rainey, and I serve the community of Northwest Indiana as Vice President of the United Way of Northwest Indiana. On behalf of our CEO and President, Adam O'Doherty, I'd like to say thank you to the council and Mayor Bunta for allowing me to have a few minutes to share some very important comments toward the community and the residents. The major goals of the United Way in Northwest Indiana come in four ideals that stem from this notion of securing income stability for working families in Northwest Indiana. It's so very important that working families have a level of income stability. We're noticing throughout the county that almost 40% of our working families struggle with basic needs. Secondly, it's the mission of the United Way of Northwest Indiana to assist community members with various things that they need throughout their time in the community, as well as strengthening the foundation of service to a maximum collective impact that we're able to produce. And also, last but not least, is to grow our capacity in Northwest Indiana, the capacity to help all Northwest Indiana residents thrive. With that said and done, our signature program at the United Way is a program known as Level Up. And Level Up offers a plethora of services to help community members thrive. Some of these services include, but not limited to, child care assistance, financial education, trade certification, and job training, various supports of soft skill development. I also mentioned increased confidence that comes along with that, as well as the overall notion of soft skill training and development that helps for a very educated and skilled workforce in Northwest Indiana. So those are some of the things that our Level Up program provides. Most importantly, community members, please understand that being enrolled in our Level Up program comes with one-on-one counseling and wraparound services that's intended to help our residents live a more holistic lifestyle and level up to more higher paying jobs that come with a livable wage in Northwest Indiana. I have with me not only business cards, but also QR codes with more information relative to our Level Up program for enrollment. And also, ladies and gentlemen, I stand here as a advocate and also a believer in the vision that Mayor Bunta has about a unified and a more inclusive Portage, Indiana, intended to raise the quality of life for all residents in Portage, Indiana. Mayor Bunta, if it's appropriate, I'll take any questions.
That was the fire department signal. That was not your time. You're good.
Okay. So if it's appropriate this time, I'll take any questions that anyone may have, that the council may have, or community members may have at this time.
I see a lot of people taking notes. Anybody from the council have anything you'd like to say?
How many participants already take advantage of your Level Up program?
Well, at this time, we have about close to 300 participants in the program, but it's our goal within the next year or two is to serve all close to 1,000 participants in our program. Our president, Adam O'Doherty, is here. If you want to give a little bit more credence to that.
Sure. No, I think what he's trying to say is, for lack of a better term, 40% of the people in our region are the working poor. If they get a $400 unexpected bill, they don't have an answer solution for it. And we don't have a program that's given a handout. Our program is to give a hand up. We're not trying, those working families have to make a decision, do they go on welfare or do they try working their way out of the system? We're trying to help those working their way out of the system to get to a better job. Our program, on average, is around $22,000-24,000 a year more than they're currently making by year one of their graduation. Some make significantly more than that. Some earn over $100,000 a year after our program, and it's self-paced, so if it takes longer, great. We have people that are in our program less than 6 weeks, some are 18 months, so essentially that's our program in a nutshell.
Sure.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question about
Certainly.
that? You said 300 people
Well,
currently?
a little bit more than that. We're floating around close with the 5 counties that we serve. We're in Lake, Porter, Jasper, Newton, and also Porter County. We're close to 500, actually, that we're serving at this moment in time.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to know, which counties that.
Yes,
included.
5 counties. Any other questions, or?
And one more question. So
Sure.
are there training programs within the program that address certain areas of life, quality of life areas, such as financial training, that sort of thing?
Yes, probably, there's a plethora of wraparound services that our Level Up program offers. One of the most important ones, to give you a vivid example, is the pathway to home ownership. I think that it goes without any surprise that the lifeblood of a community is the notion of having people who can buy homes. And that's one of the program services that we provide through our Level Up program, is help our participants get the financial training, the financial wherewithal and the bandwidth to be a homeowner. And also comes with that, I mentioned earlier, maybe that it's child care that needs assistance, or assistance with job training that leads to a higher paying job. Our Level Up program is the pipeline to those accessibility pathways.
Is there a cost for the program?
No, there is no cost for the program. There's a contingency that our eligible prospect must have a job. That's what we're saying as we look for potential candidates for our program, that they must have a job at the baseline level, and that will help them scale up and level up to higher paying jobs and higher paying opportunities that can transition to a higher livable wage. Because as our president mentioned earlier, one accident away, if it's a car trouble or one life catastrophic incident, that can pull the wheels off of everything. So we want to be able to provide a level of support that brings income stability to working families.
I would like to say thank you, guys. I've had the chance and the blessing to meet many of those that you have helped them advance so much in life, and to listen to their stories, I was amazed. And I know one of them that I got a chance to meet, they're actually working for you guys now, I'm so thankful for everything this organization does. And I don't even remember how many years ago that we got hit with a flood the way that we did. United Way stepped in. And to see the people that were reached through you guys, I cannot thank you enough for that.
I appreciate the feedback on that. And as I mentioned earlier, we're committed to the idea of strengthening the foundation of service so that we leverage all of our resources for a maximum collective impact, so that all members of Portage and Northwest Indiana thrive financially. I want to encourage the community. I will leave back some paperwork for our Level Up program for your reading view, and also the QR code to get more information about our Level Up program. And I want to encourage you all to apply, to take advantage of this unique service that helps move the needle on financial stability. It's so critical to our region. Our Mayor Bunta speaks eloquently about raising the quality of life in Portage and Northwest Indiana. This is a program that helps support that idea.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. We truly appreciate it. I look forward to our follow-up meeting, and thank you so much for coming and speaking to your mission here in Portage, Indiana, and Northwest Indiana.
Thank you, Mayor Bunta. Thank you, City Council members.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, For now, I'm going to ask my city officials standing committees, in the interest of time, some rearrangement. We're going to go to I don't believe we have any unfinished business, is that correct? No. So we are going to jump ahead. We'll go to new business, resolution number 24-02, tax abatement for MSI Express, Inc. Andy, I'm sorry, we need someone to read it first, sorry. Councilman Parnell, would you be inclined?
Resolution number 2402, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana, to provide certain economic benefits for a business enterprise located within the city. Whereas pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1, 1-12, 1-2, the Indiana Legislature established an act permitting municipal authorities to designate economic revitalization areas for purposes of encouraging and fostering economic development. Whereas the City of Portage Common Council previously adopted certain ordinances and resolutions in further pursuant of this goal by permitting qualified local businesses that add value to the local economy and create jobs for local constituents to apply for tax abatement benefits for businesses located within the previously designated economic revitalization areas. And whereas the MSI Enterprise Incorporated, an Ohio corporation doing business at 6750 Daniel Burnham Drive, Portage, Indiana, submitted its statement of benefits dated February 14, 2024, therein requesting a 5-year tax abatement on personal property located at its business, namely approximately $3.9 million of new equipment. Now, therefore, the Portage Common Council finds that the estimate of the cost of the new manufacturing equipment is reasonable for equipment of that type. Number 2, that the estimate of the number of individuals who will be employed or whose employment will be retained can be reasonably be expected to the result from installation of new manufacturing equipment. Number 3, that the estimate of annual salaries of those individuals who will be employed or whose employment will be retained can reasonably be expected to result from the proposed installation of new manufacturing equipment. Number 4, other benefits about which information was requested are benefits which could reasonably be expected to result from proposed installation of new manufacturing equipment. Number 5, the totality of benefits to be driven from the proposed installation of new manufacturing equipment is sufficient to justify the deduction sought by the applicant. The Portage Common Council therefore concludes that the statement of benefits submitted by MSI Express Incorporated to the Portage Common Council should be and is hereby approved as follows. Year 1, 100%. Year 2, 80%. Year 3, 60%. Year 4, 40%. Year 5, 20%. Year 6 and thereafter, 0%. Be it therefore resolved that the tax abatement in the amount specified in Section 30-6 of the City of Portage Municipal Code shall be paid by the property owner during each year in which the property owner's property tax liability is reduced by the tax abatement approved therein. Be it further resolved that the tax abatement granted under the resolution is conditioned upon the property owner consenting to the imposition of the tax abatement fee.
Do we need to say the let it be?
I think before we go on, we have to read SB 1 also.
I'm going to say is the, yeah.
Motion to approve. So someone needs to read the SB 1, the second page.
They need to read through the whole form?
Yes.
Oh, can we switch that over to somebody else? Unless,
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Melissa, would you be, I don't have Colin Zilli here to do it super fast, so Melissa, if you don't mind.
Read the whole thing in its entirety. You can statement of benefits, property, personal property, and then just jump down to section 1. Say, this is SB 1. Gotta be in the minutes.
Form SB 1/PP. This statement must be submitted to the body designating the economic revitalization area prior to the public hearing if the designating body requires information from the applicant in making its decision about whether to designate an economic revitalization area. Otherwise, this statement must be submitted to the designating body before a person installs the new manufacturing equipment and/or research and development equipment and/or logistical distribution equipment and/or information technology equipment for which the person wishes to claim a deduction. Number 2, The statement of benefits form must be submitted to the designating body and the area designated an economic revitalization area before the installation of qualifying abatable equipment for which the person desires to claim a deduction. Number 3, to obtain a deduction, a person must file a certified deduction schedule with the person's personal property return on a certified deduction schedule, Form 103-ERA, with the township assessor of the township where the property is situated, or with the county assessor if there is no township assessor, and/or research and development equipment. And the township assessor. The 103/ERA must be filed between January 1st and May 15th of the assessment year in which new manufacturing equipment and/or research and development equipment and/or logistical distribution equipment and/or information technology equipment is installed and fully functional unless a filing extension has been obtained. A person who obtains a filing extension must file the form between January 1st and the extended due date of that year. Number 4, property owners whose statement of benefits was approved must submit Form CF-1PP annually to show compliance of the statement of benefits. IC 6-1-1-12.1-5.6. For a Form SB1/PP that is approved after June 30th, 2013, the designating body is required to establish an abatement schedule for each deduction allowed. For a Form SB1/PP that is approved prior to July 1st, 2013, the abatement schedule approved by the designating body remains in effect. IC 6-1-1-12.1-17.
Section 1's got everything.
Ferdinand, would you want to take on section 1?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Section 1, name of taxpayer, Section 1, taxpayer information, name of taxpayer, MSI Express Incorporated, name of contact person, Chris Coomer, address of taxpayer, 6750 Daniel Burnham Drive, Portage, Indiana, 46368, telephone number 219-762-4855. Section 2, location and description of proposed project, name of designating body, City of Portage, location of property, again, 6750 Daniel Burnham Drive, Portage, Indiana, County of Porter. D, Department of Local Government Financing, Taxing District Number 16. Description of manufacturing equipment and/or research and development equipment and/or logistical distribution equipment and/or information technology equipment. The company is looking to install a new manufacturing line and building a room around it with corresponding infrastructure as needed. The line includes a conveyor, hopper, and final packaging system. The manufacturing equipment start date is proposed to be April 1st, 2024, with a completion date proposed of July 1st, 2024. Section 3, estimate of employees and salaries as a result of proposed project, current number 81, salaries in the amount of $3,748,680, number of employees retained 81, salaries $3,748,680, number of additional 15, and then salaries that correspond to that is $694,200. Section 4, estimated total cost and value of proposed project. Manufacturing equipment cost $3,927,000, assessed value $3,927,000. Net estimated values upon completion of project, $3,927,000. Let the record show, and this has been signed by Nick Priebus, the Chief Financial Officer. Let the record show that this has been read in its entirety. Do I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Just only briefly, so, Mr. Mileta, are you the answer?
And if you'd like to
for-
come up, that'd be awesome.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm up here, and also the representative from MSI Express, Ian Smith, is here to answer any questions. Just briefly, a little bit about the company. MSI Express is a company that started here in Portage over on Carlson Avenue. They still have a location there. They've expanded a couple of times, and they've got a couple of locations now in Ameriplex, which the one here today is in Ameriplex. What they do, they're a co-packer, if you understand what that is. So they work with a lot of national brands they'll either mix their product and package it and then ship it out, or sometimes products come in already manufactured, and then they'll package them and send them out. It's a really interesting business. They're growing like crazy. Besides Portage, they do have other locations around the country. When we hear that they were talking about they've got a new contract with another product, so they need new manufacturing equipment, we hear that they're looking to expand. We want to jump in right away and make sure that expansion takes place here in Portage. And obviously, tax abatement is the tool that we have to use for that, and certainly is in an area that we've approved by code for those to take place. So that's why we're here today. They want to install that equipment. It'll be 15 new jobs with that equipment, with this new line. And they're good paying jobs. It's a great company, and it's good to see them continue to grow, and especially here in Portage. So if there's any questions, I can say Mr. Smith is here. He should be able to answer any other questions that you may have.
Yes, Mr. Smith, thank you. So if the report is correct, you currently have 81 employees here in the city of Portage?
Correct.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Any other questions?
And how long have you been located here in Portage?
Oh, gosh, I think at least 15 years now. Yeah, it's been a while. We've been expanding. We're excited about this line. It's for a national customer, as Mr. Milletta referenced, and we're hopeful that with continued success, there'll be future opportunities to expand in Portage.
Well, thanks so much for being here today. Liz, I believe we have a motion and a second, right?
Yes.
Got it. It's important that we have both.
Yes, we have both.
All right. And this is a resolution, so we don't need to do a first reading. This is a.
That's correct.
All right. Having heard a motion and a second, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Congratulations.
Best
Thank you.
wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2, we have ordinance number 24-08, repealing and replacing section 5084 video recordings. Let's see. Penny, would you like to read this one? Nope.
Ordinance 24-08, ordinance repealing and replacing Section 50-84 of the Portage Code of Ordinances governing video recordings. It is hereby ordained and established by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana, as follows. A new ordinance, Section 50-84, governing video recordings as presented by Austin Bonta, Mayor, to the Common Council of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana. Section 50-84, video recordings. The police department shall charge a fee of $150 to provide a copy of a video recorded incident taken by the department involving an incident or accident, traffic arrest, or any other type of traffic enforcement for which there is a video recorded taken by the department. The $150 fee is to be charged for each incident or each recording. If the same incident or accident involves 2 separate recordings, the charge shall be $150 for each recording. The person requesting a copy of such recording shall be responsible for providing a blank tape or DVD for copying and reproduction purposes. All fees received by the police department for such reproduction of videotapes shall be deposited in a separate account to be known as the videotape fee account and may be expended at the discretion of the chief administrative officer of the department for any department purpose reasonably related to the retention and storage of incident or accident reports and records for the prevention of street and highway accidents, traffic-related arrests, and any other type of traffic enforcement pursuant to IC 9-26-2. Section 1. The current Section 50-84 of the Portage Code of Ordinances is hereby repealed in its entirety and replaced with the provisions set forth above. Section 2. Conflicting ordinances. Any ordinance or provision of the ordinance of the City of Portage in conflict with the provisions of this ordinance is hereby repealed. Section 3. Severability. The invalidity of any section, clause, sentence, or provision of this ordinance shall not affect the validity or any other part of this ordinance which can be given effect without such invalid part or parts. Section 4. Effective date. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and adoption by the Common Council and approval by the Mayor of the City of Portage, Indiana.
Be read in entire.
Let the record show this has been read in its entirety.
So before we take any motions, I believe the ordinance committee met before this meeting. I shouldn't say I believe, I know I was there. And I think that there were some changes made to what's proposed here. And I think that Victoria, Councilwoman, I think you caught some of that. Could you elaborate? Well, maybe the way to say it is let you speak. If there are changes that were suggested at the ordinance committee that would like to be incorporated here, what would be the right procedure to take what's been read and get that fixed?
Well, we read it, we made the changes, we voted on the changes, and the changes are what we have today to be presented. I think it was just a matter that the new edited version didn't get here since we were prior to this meeting, but we do have the correct version available if you want to present that to the council now, which we would.
I think my question would be, is it smoother to amend this like we did with the trash ordinance like at the last meeting, or would it be better to just read the whole new? I'm asking our attorney.
If you would make a record that shows those changes that were made in the updated version, I think that would be sufficient without going ahead and rereading the entirety of the ordinance.
And I think my question is, what are the scope of the differences between what got talked about today and this, in terms of how much wording would have to change?
So we are increasing the charge of the fee from $100 to $150. We are also including postage and handling. That will be a separate fee in addition to the $150. And that the recording mechanisms for duplication will be the blank tape and/or a compatible media device designed for image transfers and reproduction purposes.
You have a copy of that ordinance? Electronically? If you pass that ordinance, I believe it'll be, me and Austin will be able to sign that and say it's valid. Correct, Ed?
Yes.
Could we state, well, I guess that would have to be a motion then to amend what's been proposed, is that right?
Yes.
Correct.
That's correct.
I make a motion to amend the ordinance of the video recordings 24-08 with the changes that have been proposed.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and then before I ask for the vote, I do want to ask one more question. This is a fee change, so this does require a second vote, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Got it. I think it'd be a very nice idea.
Thank you.
Chief, would you be comfortable coming up?
Sure. So the ordinance was originally written years and years ago. I think back in the time when we had basically like a VCR in the back of the car and very limited videos. We've gone from, since I've been here, about 21 years now, I think this is our third rendition of body cam type stuff. Mainly was in-car stuff before. But I believe that the ordinance was originally written back then, and the fees probably were somewhat reflective of back then. So the state now has an Indiana code that allows us to collect $150 per recording. Did some research. Valpo Porter County Sheriff's Department and Chesterton are all on the exact same body camera program that we are. They all charge $150. I know I sent the ordinance committee a list of all the different things that we have to do to prepare one of these videos, and $150 is probably a fraction of the cost that it takes. So on average, for a basic 30-minute video, it takes about an hour and a half to go through and view, make required redactions, process, then review it again. And that's on a 30-minute video, and that's just one view of it. So we're just asking to recoup a little bit more money on it. There's other ways that people can get videos through discovery and things. If it's a criminal case, if people are within, there's some restrictions, but if they're involved in the video, they can come and view it at the police department. So this is mainly for outside entities that want the videos for who knows what reason. If we're going to put the time and effort into putting it together, we're just trying to recoup a little bit of cost. And like I said, the $150 that the state allows is probably nowhere near, but it doesn't make sense for us to be under that at this point, so.
Chief, if I could ask you, so we had an incident end of last year, and it stayed a news story going into this year. The gentleman who went over the bridge and survived for 6 days, and I think that there were a lot of requests from media outlets for the body cam footage, if I remember correctly. For an incident, and I don't know if we're going to have a big thing again where there's going to be a lot, but is it ever a good idea to make the video more accessible than calling and requesting the department if we know that there's going to be high count for it? Or do you believe by passing this ordinance it'll always be, we'd still want everybody to go through? I use that example just because I know we had a lot, and I think at some point we talked about if it'd be more efficient to say, hey, if we know this many outlets are asking for it, there's another way to get that out for the sake of department time.
No, it's a good question, and there is some differences between media outlets and their use and just random people wanting copies of the video because if they have certain information, they can get it. So I think that probably in the future that was a decent learning experience on, it was one of the biggest things that we've had since we've had videos. We'd probably try to look with our technology company and maybe try to find a place where you could, they could go and find it. So I think that's probably the route that we would go so that we wouldn't have to handle all of the news agencies, because I know our officer that handles this was getting inundated almost daily, and like you said, it went on for a while. So I do not have the technological knowledge, I'll tell you that right now, but I'm certain it's out there, and so we'd probably just have to work with them to try to find, have it, put it somewhere, and then they could all just access it at that point, if it's an incident that we deem that's the appropriate measure to take.
Thank you. Any other questions for the chief? Any other discussion on?
Thank you for explaining all of
thank
that.
you.
I appreciate it.
Any other questions or discussion about the proposed ordinance? Double checking again, we have a motion and a second, right? We had the,
Yes, correct.
well, we can't suspend because it's a fee change that requires a second vote.
No, we can suspend it. You can suspend it. It's got to be unanimous, though.
I thought that fee changes and zoning changes always require a second vote.
No.
All right then. So go ahead and make the motion, or?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
And I will second.
All in favor? Oh, maybe we should do, if it's voting to suspend, maybe we should do a roll call vote. Liz, if you could take the roll.
Sure. Councilperson Allen Reds?
Yes?
Councilperson Weintraub?
Yes.
Councilperson Geisler?
Yes.
Councilperson Parnell?
Yes.
Councilperson Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilperson Amber?
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli's not here, so. Motion passed?
Motion passed.
Now you have to do it.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 24-08.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. And that motion carries. All right, so now we'll go ahead. Are there any reports from our standing committees?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. The ordinance committee met today prior to the council meeting, as we meet every first Tuesday of the month at 5:30 PM here in the City Hall Council Chambers. We also encourage the public to attend if possible. Today, we discussed the videotape ordinance that we decided to advance to the council, also the travel and reimbursement ordinance and any potential changes to that. We have decided there will be modifications to that travel and reimbursement ordinance based on discussions and input from not only the mayor, but also the clerk treasurer as well. We also discussed and will discuss at our next meeting the vegetation ordinance, which decides or discusses the amount of an increase in fine for vegetation that grows larger or longer than 6 inches in length, and the time period in which notifications go out and fines and all of that. Still, public input is welcome and encouraged. So we would encourage anyone to come and discuss that at our next meeting. Also, the sewer ordinance, which Ms. Marshall would do a much better job of explaining than I would, but it is very in-depth, and it is more information forthcoming. So, I mean, if you'd like to, I'm sure at department head time, but, and then also the scavenger ordinance, which has not been updated since 1985, and nearly 40 years later, we will revisit it and bring it into the 21st century. I believe that is, and there also will be an ordinance forthcoming from the Beautification Committee regarding any type of action that they are doing with their committee. So again, we encourage city residents to come and take an active role in the passing of city laws. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Going on to our reports from the city officials. So I'm very excited. I don't know if it's the first time ever, but in the first time I've been watching city council meetings, we have our building department here today. Mr. Jones, it's an honor to have you here.
Nice to be here.
Oh, would you like to come up, or someone? Yeah. I am thrilled to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
We just put together some numbers for inspections and permits, if you'd like to hear them. For January, we did 55 residential permits, 15 commercial, 8 plumbing, 21 electric, 8 HVACs. For February, 78 residential, 3 commercial building, 33 plumbing, 37 electrical, 27 HVAC, for a total of 290 permits from January 1st till February 29th. We have been down one inspector since January 16th. He's off injured. And we are down one clerk in my office, a part-time position, which we are currently taking applications for. For inspections, January 2023, we had 163. January 2024, we had 258. February 2023, there were 165 inspections. February 2024 were 313. Building department has issued 44 new contractor licenses and 114 renewal licenses since the beginning of the year. And we usually average about 1,000 licensed contractors to work in the city at any given time. So that's really all the information I had. Do you have any questions?
I think I just want to say thank you for your work that you've been doing. I mean, you and I, we hit the ground running, making some important changes that, again, certain progress takes a certain speed. I think that you've been an excellent communicator, to me and for your department when it comes to some of the things we're working on. It's no secret that we're trying to make it easier for people to be able to open a business in Portage. Something that I was so impressed, I came down to see you, I think it was late last week, and you got off the phone, and it was you were calling different cities in Indiana, asking about how they do different things as we're starting to explore how we can make things more efficient in Portage. So that was pretty cool for me, and there's a lot of people who've been excited about some of the stuff that you're doing. So thank you.
Well,
Are there any
thank
other
you, Mayor.
questions from the council?
All right, thank
I'd
you.
just like to thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, we've got our park department. Paul, would you like to come up? You can bring him. It's a familiar face.
Good evening, members of the council, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to introduce John Harrison. He's recently come on as our assistant superintendent, and I'm going to give him the joy and ability to present our information this evening.
Well, thank you.
Okay, we're heading into our busy season, our spring activities. Youth soccer registration is from March 1st to April 1st. And so far, that's ages 3 to 14 co-ed. So far, we have 110 signees. Youth baseball, ages 4 to 16 co-ed. Registration closes the 15th, and we have 150 registrations so far. Adult Women's Spring Volleyball League, we have 22 teams. Season begins next week. Adult Spring Softball League, men's and co-eds. Registration closes April 22nd. Don't have a number of teams for that yet. And our upcoming events, the Brew Fest is in April, and the Craft Fair is in May. Other than that, we're keeping busy.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from the council or statements? Let me just say I got to go and meet with you guys today, my chief of staff, Leanne, and then Lynn Graylick, our new HR director. We came and met with the whole team, and I think we just had a great time. I think that, if I remember, we did the seats youth group style. Some people called it a different kind of style, but I think it was a great talk, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to meet with us today.
No problem. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Tracy, would you like to come up?
Hello, good evening. The plant, so as far as the utility plant, the sewage plant has been running very good. We haven't had any issues. Spring's coming, so we're expecting our rain, as always. We had a kickoff meeting today for the construction of our clarifier solar, so we're on schedule. Everything's looking good. We met with Thieneman, the construction. So there's been no issues on holding anything up or anything like that, so everything's going great. And what else is going? The sewer use ordinance, we've completed that and just making the last steps. There's always been a sewer use ordinance, we were just updating it. So it basically helps industries and residents understand the sewer system and everything like that, and what we do to uphold violations and anything that occurs to our plant. They've been out there, the field inspector's been out there doing grease traps, so we've been checking all those. Started it because there's quite a few of them. Our lab is certified in the plant, so that means they have to go through several tests to make sure that all of them are doing everything correctly the way they're supposed to. It's an unknown test. And we've decided this year to go for the Lab Excellency Award through IDEM, so we have signed up for that. So the IDEM will be coming out and walking through with our lab, so we can get the Lab Excellency Award. That's been several years, probably about 10 since we've done that. So is there any questions or comments?
Any questions from the council? Tracy, what's the sewer ordinance that you're working on?
So the sewer use ordinance, basically, it's, like I said, it's always been there, so this is just an update. So basically, it tells all the small rules of what can be in the sewer, so what temperatures, surfactants, if there could be that we don't want surfactants, oil, grease, any contaminants that is explosive, that kind of stuff. It lists the pretreatment, so it tells you who has authority to come to your plant or facility. It basically lists it's probably about 56 pages of everything on the sewer. Basically, we don't allow people to come in with like the porta potties. We have decided that is not something we want. So we don't have hauled in sewage except for what our own guys haul in. So our vac trucks go out, they vac the lines, they come in, they can dump. But we don't take any outside because of the chance of a contaminant or something hitting us that could kill all our bugs. So we keep that. So that's in there. There's lots of different stuff. There's also what the violations would occur, if they're a minor or a major. We've kind of changed that up a little bit because the violations before were a set thing where it was, you get a verbal, you get a warning, you get this fine, you get this fine. Well, now we've made it into like a spreadsheet where there's minor infractions and serious. So we can take a serious step to someone who comes in and contaminates our whole plant and kills all the bugs. So before we had to take all these steps to get to them, now we're saying, no, you cause us a big problem, we're going to come at you. So.
Thank you so much. Thanks for explaining that a little, and I'm sure we're going to hear more, as we get closer to it. So
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
And Ms.
exactly.
Marshall, just to add, so the sewer ordinance has been reviewed by the state, is that correct? And
Correct.
approved?
Yes, it has been approved by item at the state level through pretreatment. The next step, I brought it to the ordinance committee, and then the next step will be this Thursday, I'll be bringing it to the sanitary board to be approved, and then back to the ordinance committee to bring to council.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dan, would you like to come up?
Good evening, everyone. The rain barrels at this time, we have sold 30. Again, pickup day will be on Earth Day. Hopefully, we sell a little bit more. I know it's kind of been going down here in the last few years. From the first time we did it again in like 3 years ago, I believe we sold around 75, 80. So maybe next year we'll try to get a little bit more public education out there for the rain barrels to try to boost that back up for next year. Ma'am?
Remind me, how can we obtain a rain barrel, the cost?
It's around $28 for a resident. You could call my office, the utility field forces office, and Kayla Egoff, my assistant, will take care of all of it for you. There's also, you could go on the website and look at the website too. You can actually talk to them direct, the rain barrel company, and you could talk to them direct too. So, but the best way is to call my office and talk to Kayla, and she'll make sure she gets it all taken care of.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sweepers, we're gonna start de-winterizing them shortly, and hopefully we'll have them out by April 1st. It could be earlier, it all depends on when my head mechanic goes through them and okays them to be roadworthy again for the new season. Like I said, we're gonna try to shoot for April 1st, so if anybody gets calls, that's the date we're shooting for. If it's any earlier, then that's all, that'd be great. Obviously, we start on the main roads first, Willow Creek, Central, things of that nature where we have a lot of traffic, a lot of garbage, a lot of remnants from the winter time on the roads, the dirt and et cetera. So that's where we will start. And then after that, we go to our zones and start in our zones and work our way through the whole city, through all our zones. Tomorrow's kind of an exciting day. It's been a long time coming, but we're supposed to have our startup for our generator, our emergency generator. That's going to be tomorrow at 8 o'clock, so kind of excited about that. Like I said, been a long time coming, and it's really tough to get them big doors open when you can't see, and it's just gonna be very nice to have that generator, and that will be tomorrow. So if everything works out, we will have an emergency generator starting tomorrow. And that's about all I have. Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Commenda, only briefly. For those Portage residents at home, regarding the rain barrels, in the event of no rain, can they use them as garbage cans? I'm only
Randy?
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding, and you don't have to answer
I'll take that
that.
to our street superintendent.
I'm only kidding. You don't have to answer that. Thank you.
All right. Everyone have a good evening.
Speaking of, Randy, come up. Randy, I'm very excited about your report. Keep in mind, if you do use that rain barrel, it would be a $40 bulk item fee.
Well, for January's storm report, we had 6 major storms come through the area. We used about 2,000 tons of salt, and last month I reported that we drove about 14,000 miles in our equipment. February was very mild. We had 2 storms. They weren't mild, or they weren't extreme at all. They were very mild. We used about 133 tons of salt, and we drove about 2,700 miles. So I don't know what March has for us, but hopefully it is mild. We've been saving a lot of money on road salt, so that's a good sign there. For our sanitation, some of the major changes that we've made in the sanitation ordinance that was passed by council was one of them that we're really excited about in our department is, I'm going to give you an example. To the left of me is a toter, and that is considered overloaded. All right, and one of the ordinances that we passed, and we have pictures to prove this, because the gentleman will pull up on a stop, and it is it looks just like this. In fact, I've got pictures I was going to show tonight, but due to lack of time,
You can show them at the end if anybody wants to see. That's fine.
They do some Tetris, I don't know what you'd call it, but very extreme stacking. So in this type of situation, residents are looking at, it's called a $10 service fee for an overloaded toter. So to avoid this, we ask that those residents will call our department. They could easily sign up for a second toter, which is $10 extra a month, but they will have that volume. One of the things that we've experienced since we've gone away from curbside recycling, we still have recycling. We have a recycling center down at the street department, and March 18th, I believe the US compost site, the US 12 compost site is going to open up, and they will have a recycling center there as well. But one of the things that we've experienced with this, and the flyer that we went out, has lots of chatter. So residents have been contacting our office, contacting us by mail, saying, hey, I've got this situation. I've got 1 black lid toter, and I've got 2 green lid toters. What do I do? And we're happy to take that 1 green lid toter back, because we explained to them, you're allowed up to 2 toters now in your $20 a month service fee, but that third one is going to cost you $10. So you could keep it if you believe your volume of trash is that high, or you could give it back to the street department, and they're more than able to give that back. So give us a call, contact us. We can explain those over the situation. Now, we do have another situation where we did confiscate a green lid toter years ago because of violations to the recycling policy. So that one resident got a second black lid toter going into these change ordinances. We do have those residents calling us to say, hey, how do I get this off there? It's a simple form. They just fill it out. We process that through the clerk's office, and they take that $10 a month charge off their bill. So, and then, or they keep that toter too. So we take the $10 off, and they keep the 2 toters. So, and we do have some residents even calling us and saying, hey, I got 2 green lids. I'm only going to use 1 black lid, and that's fine. And you could go down to 1 black lid. So with any of the reports that I gave the council in the email, do you got any questions on that?
Randy,
Oh, I wanted to give this update. Since we stopped the public coming into the street department with dumping their trash and their bulk items. Oh, I just want to tell you this, we went through 40 dumpsters a month. 40 dumpsters a month. That's incredible. We're down to 2. So we went from, let's see here, February of last year, we spent $4,300. This past month, we spent $434. So we're going to be saving a lot of money. Now, that doesn't mean we have money to spend or anything. All we did was take the red that our department was operating and we shrunk it. So, okay? So there's no additional funds, we just shrink in the red. We're just controlling expenses.
And on that note, Randy, and that was what I was going to say, and then you got to it, so I appreciate that, because going from 4,000 to 400 is truly just incredible as far as what a change that is. I also think it's worth noting that when you look at the report as far as how much was spent overall when it comes to what we're taking to landfill, there are changes because, of course, volume has changed, and then, of course, the price went up. Last year, it was $60 and some change to a ton. Now it's $63, $64. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
But the numbers look to me like it's not as if we traded one for the other. The billing shows that by ending the free dumpster policy, the overall amount going to landfill has decreased. I was really excited to see that. And I know that you guys have been keeping out people who tried to come in.
Yes. Any questions on any of the reports?
I would like to thank you very much for working so diligently and hard on saving the city some money. It's greatly appreciated.
And I appreciate those flyers.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Chief Candiano, you've been here quite a while. I want you to know if you stayed just because you wanted to get me my orange folder back, you can keep it. But if you'd like to come up and give a report on the police, you are more than welcome to.
I'm keeping it. All right. Hello, everybody. Exciting night. Swearing in new officers is always a cool night. Hopefully that in the next couple months that will start slowing down and we'll be kind of caught up with all the retirements and changes. So, but appreciate you all being here tonight to be a part of that. So it's exciting to get new officers in. So for the month of February, our total incidents were 3,384. That puts us at an average of 117 a day. We are at 6,950 so far for 2024, and that has us up 1,510 from last year. So we're obviously on an uptick so far this year. I sent out some crime stats and stuff. Were you guys able to look at any of that I sent a couple weeks ago? I'm just going to go over a couple just real quick since I know some of the public's watching. So last year we made 5,724 traffic stops. I know there was some social media stuff last year about whether or not we were out stopping cars. We stopped 5,724 of them. And of those 5,724, we wrote warnings 67% of the time. So again, it's more about being out there, getting people to slow down than it is to be punitive. But and those numbers were actually down from our traffic from the year before, but I think a lot of that has to do with we've just been so shorthanded that the call volume being up, we're not able to do as much traffic. But it's starting to trend the other way this year with getting more officers out there. So with that being said, our property damage crashes were down, personal injury crashes were down, fatal crashes were down. Our total crashes in the city, these are motor vehicle crashes, were down 72. Robberies were down, aggravated assaults were down, burglaries were down, vehicle thefts were down, stolen property was down, arson was down, stolen guns were down. Pretty good year. Now, I did mention in there that the way that we're tracking the crime stats is a little different. There were some changes. So with some of the assaults, I'm not sure how that's going to, next year it'll be interesting to see, to compare back and see if there's some changes in there, because I'm just not sure if they're categorized the same as they were. But like I said, for the most part, the majority of the crime numbers were down last year, which is interesting because we were up 2,021 incidents. So we were busier, but the crime was down. So Mental health is obviously still a major problem in our area and in our country overall, but we had 124 mental commitments last year. And even though some of the crime numbers were down, we still had 20 officers that were assaulted last year. Our full-time and sworn officers logged 8,179 hours of training. Now, a lot of that comes from the academy because they get about 600 hours of training, and we've had a lot of people gone through the academy, but still a lot of training that we were able to do last year. We hired 8 new officers. We lost 7 to retirements and some career changes, which is a little tough on us because that was about 200 years of experience that we lost last year. So we are now one of the youngest departments in the area. We have 32 officers with less than 5 years of experience and a few more to hire. So it's definitely a changing time for our department. Again, I've been talking about this for a couple of years, but this is where we're at now. So a lot of young officers, they're learning their job, they're doing a great job, but we are a very, very young department at this point. I mentioned, I think last meeting, that I knew our community outreach events were up. From what I could find, it looks like we did 43 of them. So that's 43 different times that we were out doing, stuff that's not necessarily police related, just being out with the community, engaging with them in a much more positive environment, whether it be with kids, whether it be with adults, any of that stuff. So I was pretty excited that we did all those last year, and we're going to try to increase that again this year. Just a couple more things real quick. Currently we have 4 officers in the field training program that were sworn in tonight. So they're just now starting their training. In about 8 months or so, they might get released and be out on their own. It's a long process with the training and the academy until they finally get released. So, but they're out there and they're getting started. So we're also waiting on 2 that we made offers to, waiting for their perf approval. Then they'll get started. So that leaves us with 2 current openings, and then we've got 3 more retirements in May and June. And then in addition to that, 3 more at the academy right now that are graduating in May. So we keep losing and gaining, but hopefully by the end of next year, it'll start to all kind of be at an equilibrium. As far as community engagement, the past month, I don't know if I mentioned, but we donated around $900 to the Caring Place. If you're not familiar with what the Caring Place is, it's a domestic violence victim shelter. So we were able to raise some money through the officers, and we made a donation to them. And then we went back out there last week for a tour. They kind of did an informational presentation to us. If you're not familiar with the work they're doing, it's amazing. The facility is amazing. The things that they are offering domestic violence victims I was blown away by it. So as many people as we can get in touch with them, the better, because unfortunately, obviously domestic violence is a problem. But it's nice knowing that there are organizations out there that are doing this kind of work. So, other than that, just a little update on our canines. Canine Haro retired several weeks ago. I had mentioned that he had been diagnosed with cancer. At this point, he's doing well. He is again retired and with his handler. Seems like he's doing well, so we're happy about that. However, we got some more bad news. We have another canine that was recently diagnosed with a debilitating arthritis situation, and he is going to need to retire. So our canine officers have been working their butts off to raise money, and I think we're in a good shape. We've got a couple fundraisers coming up. I can give some more information out, but they have done an amazing job. So usually I take the end of this to recognize, something that the officers have done, but at this point, I just got to thank the community, both the citizens and businesses, because the amount of donations and things that have come through to help support the canine program that kind of blew my mind. I never would have expected that they would be able to raise this type of money so fast to get our, so we're not lacking. The canine program could have gone down to almost nothing, and I think we're going to be able to bridge that gap. So shows that people love dogs, but I think it also shows that the community supports their police department. So just want to thank them for that. So.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments from the council? Thank you so much, as always. Let's see, I think we got oh, fire. Yes, please come on up. See, Mike, I can make those kinds of jokes too.
Good evening. My feet fell asleep waiting on Chief Candiano. I don't have a year-end report. However, I will report to you on February of 2024. So we had 458 total calls, a small dip from January, but still 20% higher than February of 2023. Out of those 458, 340 of those were EMS calls. Again, it's about a 20% increase from February of 2023. 2 structure fires, a car fire, and 17 vehicle crashes. This time last year, we were bringing in mutual aid departments 19 times. This year, we're down a little bit, 12, only 3 for February, which is good. Compared to 2022, before we put our third ambulance, we were calling probably 15 a month, so it's good. We've really spread that out, and we're having to rely on outside agencies a lot less. Personnel, in a couple of weeks, we have a firefighter retiring. Because of the circumstances of his retirement, we've been able to offer his replacement a job. He did accept, and he went down for his perf physical last Friday. And hopefully we'll get all that information back so he is able to attend the fire academy that begins April 15th. Last month, I was able to talk about some promotions that we had, and I failed to mention a promotion. With January's retirement, we did have those promotions. So last month, we were also able to promote Scott Klein to engineer, so congratulations to Scott Klein. We will have 2 more openings coming up from retirements later on in the year. With that, we are doing pretty well with our marketing and our advertising. Our current hiring process, we brought in 48 applications. 8 of those 48 were paramedics. So we do have new hire interviews coming up in a couple weeks, and we are hoping to have a pretty robust hiring list out of that. We do have 2 firefighters on major medical and 1 on workers' comp. Our vehicles, I'm happy to say that they are all up and operational to the point that we were able to loan Hobart one of our ambulances for about a week while they were getting some work done on one of their ambulances. We did apply for the Assistance to Firefighter grant last week. We are applying for bunker gear in the tune of $329,195.12. Roughly $29,000 of that will be our match, which we do have currently within our budget for that. And we won't be hearing anything about that until the fall. For training this month, we did have some pediatric advanced life support training for our paramedics. That is a requirement of their recertification. Quite a process, and anytime that you're dealing with pediatrics, it's a little bit, it's a scary call for us. It's not something that we deal with all the time, so when we do have that training, we try to take it seriously, and it does mean a lot. Our SWAT medics trained with the Portage Police Department SWAT team on residential entries using force-on-force. And also trained on man-down extrication situations using different drags and carries. I have no idea what that is. You would have to refer to the experts. They would give you a lot better rundown on that. I will tell you that our dive team put in some preparatory work at the MAC this last month. They are gearing up for the 2024 boating season. The upcoming season will potentially see a large influx of Lake Michigan responses due to the downsizing of the Michigan City Coast Guard station. Within this next week, we will be meeting with the Coast Guard to hammer out some details with the response. It is definitely going to impact the city of Portage with our dive team. The Michigan City Coast Guard responded in the boating season to about 125 responses throughout that short season, and it is my guess we are the only boat that is staffed in Northwest Indiana all the time, so my assumption is that we are going to pick up a big part of that slack. Community involvement, again, it's still a little cold out. The weather is not, everybody is not out and about fully yet, but we did have a Boy Scout troop come to the fire station and learned about first aid, and also toured the station and apparatus while they were there. Lastly, like Chief Candiano, I'd like to thank the firefighters that were able to put the new engine back in service, specifically Captain Tom Pfeiffer. He held everybody to the flame, trying to get it in service. It worked out perfectly. We ended up having an engine go down, so we had gotten that new engine. We didn't have it in service. He did a really good job of getting that taken care of, and it worked out well. So that is all that I have. Are there any questions for me?
Is there a reason why the Coast Guard is downsizing?
Yeah, so it is a national shortage of being able to get people to enlist. It's been a process that they have been experiencing, just like I think all public service military has been experiencing the same enlisting problems. So with that, they are no longer able to staff the Coast Guard station 24 hours a day like they have since 1888.
Chief, I was thinking about the fact that, as you mentioned, I believe Portage is the only, is it true to say that we are the only dive team that is activatable 24/7 in Northwest Indiana? And if I'm incorrect, what are the parameters of basically how we're so available for the rest of the region?
So that's a good question. We're not the only dive team that's activatable. We're the only dive team that does have a fireboat that has the capabilities of going out onto the depths of the lake. There are other entities along the lake shore that Gary Fire Department has a dive team. They don't currently have a boat that they keep on the lake. They do have some wave runners that they can deploy. The DNR does have a boat in Michigan City. With the DNR, they have to respond to that area to be able to get their boat and head out onto the lake. We do have Porter Fire Department, Burns Harbor Fire Department. They do have dive teams also, but again, with our nature of being there 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, when our boat is in the water, we have the ability to respond. Now, typical boating season, we take our boat out of the water so we can, do preventative maintenance on the boat. That, it takes a beating in the summer months. So,
Kind of a follow-up question with that. So I think it was last summer, there was a situation in, I think it was East Chicago, where Portage Fire, came out and assisted.
Yeah.
From a dispatch perspective, how does it happen where, there's an incident out there and then it ends up, like, how do they assess and how quickly does it happen that they know that it's Portage that needs to come out?
So typically for a situation like that, it'll be dependent on the departments that are responding. For that specific situation, they responded, they knew that they didn't have anybody that could have gotten to that particular individual with the boat. They requested our assistance. So normally it'll go through a fire department requesting us, and then we will be dispatched. Their dispatch center will contact our dispatch center, and they will dispatch us. It can be a little bit tedious. Lake County has gotten into a MABUS system, where they try to do a lot of things internally. They are working on opportunities to try and get boats. Lake County, just for the record, Lake County Sheriff's Department does have a boat, a dive boat that can respond, but it is not staffed 24 hours a day. It's on a volunteer basis. They are deputized, but they will respond either in their squad cars, or they are not actual police officers, and they will respond as a part of that auxiliary entity.
I'm glad that you happen to know so much about the dive team. I think it
was my forte. So.
Right. So I would say too, as you're in the recruitment, season, for new firefighters, I would imagine that being able to be on a dive team such as ours would be a big, kind of a cool thing for people considering being in a fire department and which one you want to go to as far as extra
Absolutely.
things that
So
come with it.
Alexander Rhodey that we swore in tonight, his draw to Portage Fire Department was our dive team. He is a rescue diver, and once he does his time and we have an opening, I'm sure that we would welcome him on the department. But that was a draw for him to the Portage Fire Department, was our dive team, so.
Well, thank you so much. And,
Thank you.
I
Have a
wanted
good
to say
evening.
thank you for loaning the ambulance to one
It was
our
our
surrounding
pleasure.
cities, and that's what it should be.
They
all
have
of us work
scratched our
together.
back on occasion, so we have to scratch theirs when we can. Thank you.
All right, we are potentially almost finished up. We have petitions, remonstrances, and public input. Anybody would like to come and speak for maybe about 2 minutes? I'll do my best to time you, but if anyone's inclined to speak.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, clerk treasurer. Olga Velasquez, 5050 Park Avenue. I truly believe that a city, a community can be measured by how it addresses the needs of its most vulnerable population. And I'm here today to talk to you about the impact that your new ordinance regarding the trash and recycling has on senior citizens. In 2000, under the administration of Mayor Olson, I initiated the Mayor's Advisory Committee on Senior Services, which still exists today, and we addressed many needs that seniors brought to our attention. As Mr. Reeder mentioned, your postcard that went out created a lot of chatter, and now many of the seniors that have spoken to me say, this has put an extra burden on me if I want to be a responsible and environmental person to recycle, decrease the amount of trash that goes into our landfill, decrease in costs for the city. But now I'm expected to use my own resources, if I have them, if I have a vehicle, if I'm able, if I drive, to take it to one of your locations. And so this is something that I don't know that whether you talked about, whether you considered, but going forward, I would ask that you think about the impact that it does have on seniors when you make these changes in your ordinances, or think about a way that might be helpful to seniors to try to get those recycling things. Another thing that was brought to my attention was, well, now I have 2 garbage cans. I don't need 2 toters. I barely fill one, and maybe not even half full. I myself live alone, widow. I maybe create 3 small bags of garbage. Yes, I do get a senior citizen discount, but now in the future, you're going to be collecting more garbage. Is the anticipation then to take a look at increasing the trash fees? I hope not, but I know that it costs money to provide services, but you've decreased services for me, but haven't decreased my costs. And not just me, but many seniors and people in general, that you are no longer providing the curbside recycling. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. And just to kind of clarify some things, because I think it's a great opportunity to speak to what was listed in the trash talking ordinance, as we called it. One of the most challenging things about the program was that our recycling program was discontinued or put in suspension by the company that we use in 2021. So although there is a loss of convenience, another thing that was a big deal, and this came up in the Mayor's Senior Advisory Committee and with other people I've talked to, including seniors, the frustration of realizing that anything you put in your green lid toters for much of 2021, all of 22 and 23 just went to landfill. So on one hand, we discontinued a program, but we also stopped having people, maybe they weren't aware, despite the city's best efforts to let people know that it had been put in suspension, people cleaning cans and getting things stored properly, putting in a green lid toter, and then having it go to landfill. That just wasn't working for the city. So I think that a key thing that we've communicated, and we're going to continue to communicate, is that Portage started recycling. But as far as how do we make it more accessible than having people drive to the site at the street department, that's something being worked on by our Beautification and Sustainability Committee. They're continuing to put ideas together. But to start, I'm just excited that we are now encouraging people to actually get their recycled materials recycled for the first time as a city since 2021. And as Randy said during his update earlier, if you have a need to get rid of a extra tote, maybe you don't need two, just call the street department, let them know that you'd like to give one back, and you'll be able to just have one. And we encourage that because that's really cool. I only use one myself. Thank you. Anyone else needing to come speak? Any other business to bring before the council? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
A second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.